What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Raga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a reading for all my Gemini Sun sign friends. If you were born between the dates of May 21st and June 20th, then you're a Gemini Sun sign, and this video is for you. Samhain and Halloween are finally here. I feel like October flew by. Just whoo, there it went. But Samhain's here, and this is a great time of year for us to reflect and think about things. And I've been doing a lot of darker readings this month. Focusing on the shadow and using darker decks. And we're gonna kind of continue that today. And we're gonna be doing a Halloween Samhain reading. I've got a few crystals here. I've got my black obsidian skull. Great energy for grounding and for delving into the darkness. Also, I got a Scarlet Temple Lemurian. Beautiful crystal. I love it so much. Great energy. Can't talk enough about the Lemurian. So, those are our crystals to help us out today. We're going to be using the Dark Grimoire Tarot. This is a darker deck, beware. And the objective of this reading is just to basically take a snapshots of the energies surrounding you at this time of Halloween or of Samhain and give you something to think about. It's maybe a little bit of a more lighthearted reading, just something to think about as you move forward, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas of what to move away from and what to move towards at this time of year. So the first card we're going to look at is this one. It is the Life card, and it represents what to embrace at this time, Gemini friends. Make sure it's on camera. Good enough. And we've got the High Priestess. I think for a lot of the Geminis, this is a time of year, or at least the time where the energies are right now, for you to do a lot of introspection. The High Priestess is one who is concerned with the self, and not the external physical self, but more of the internal energetic self. And I think what you need to embrace at this time is some soul searching. I think you need to ask yourself, why am I here? What am I doing here? What is in alignment with that purpose? And what actions can I take that are going to help further that purpose? So some soul searching is what's needed here. And this is a great time of year because it's easier to look at the shadow, it's easier to look at the darker side, but at the same time it's easier to see the light. Now that the veil is a little bit thinner and winter is upon us for the northern hemisphere, I think it's easier to see these things, so it's a great time to be doing that soul searching. This card here represents the Death card, and it's what to let go of at this time, Gemini friends. And we've got the Three of Swords. It's time to let go of those demons that are manipulating you. And this is metaphorical, but it's also literal, okay? I believe that a lot of our thoughts are not even our own. They're a result of programming. They're results of negative energy around us. They're results of negative entities feeding us negative energy. And I think what you need to let go of is remove the ego as much as possible. The ego can't be trusted, okay? You can use it, you can depend on it, but I would never trust it to tell you the truth. Your ego will constantly feed you lies about yourself, about your reality, about people around you, and it's a self-preservation mechanism, but it's also just negative energy bringing you down. So I think what you need to let go of as much as possible, Gemini friends, is the willingness to listen to your mind. Instead, listen to your heart, listen to your emotion, listen to your intuition, listen to your higher guidance as much as you possibly can. Minimize the ego as much as you can, and I think you're going to find just a lighter feeling. Your life is going to be so much more smooth. Okay, so remove the ego as much as possible. This card here represents your courage, where you're being courageous. We've got the Five of Wands. And I get the feeling that you're courageous and that you're not really willing to back down. If you are challenged in some way, if you meet resistance, I think a lot of you have the courage to move forward and push past it and push back even. If something is not right, if you feel like you need to be pushing back, then you will. And that is a very courageous thing. That means you're not going to step down. You're not going to step away from something that's not right. And that's one of the most courageous things there is. So keep that up and keep being courageous in that respect. This card represents your fears. And we've got the Moon card. This fits in perfectly with the High Priestess. I think what you fear here is learning about the self, right? What I see here is someone who's running away from their demons, both literal and metaphysical, and metaphorical, all those three. Right? When we run from our demons, we're not turning and facing the self. So whereas, I just said that you're willing to face obstacles, that was more in the outside physical world. When it comes to the inside, I think a lot of you are more likely to run away, right? Rather than see the darkness within yourself and learn from it and take action based on it. I think a lot of you fear that. Maybe you fear what you're going to see there. You fear the uncomfortableness. You fear change. And so a lot of you will run from your hidden demons. And that doesn't really create progress. That just prolongs the inevitable, which is inevitably your shadow will catch up to you. You can't run forever. Your shadow will catch up to you and force itself to be seen. It's better to do it on your terms and to see your shadow when you want to see it, rather than 3 p.m. on a Tuesday in the supermarket. Who knows what could happen, okay? So that is a fear that many of you may have, so it's something to think about. Let's move on over to this card, which represents what you should celebrate this Halloween or Samhain season, my Gemini friends. We've got the Nine of Wands. The feeling I'm getting from this is personal power. I think you're extremely powerful beings. You, Geminis, and everyone else. I think we're all extremely powerful in our own unique way. And I think you need to celebrate how you are powerful. Show gratitude for your gifts, of whatever you feel your gifts are. Show gratitude for those. Show gratitude to the fact that you're creating your own reality based on who you are and what you feel and what you say and what you think. You're creating. You're making something. That is a very powerful thing, okay? And that's something that you should be celebrating. It should be something that you're showing gratitude for. I think that part of this is really recognizing your strengths. And when you recognize your strengths, then they grow. They really do. So recognize your strengths and celebrate those strengths and show gratitude for them, both to yourself and to the universe. Alright, this card represents what to contemplate this Halloween or Samhain season, Gemini friends. We got the Seven of Chalices. That's funny. This card is saying contemplate contemplation. Okay? Think about spending more time thinking about things. Direct action, immediate direct action is not always the right answer. Sometimes it's great to sit back and look at the options and analyze the options and strategically pick one. So I think what this card is asking you to do this Halloween or Samhain season is be more willing to contemplate. Think about your actions. Think about not just your actions, but think about the way that you think about things. Think about the way that you feel about things. Really observe. And I'm getting the sense here that this is a time for Geminis to really observe the self especially. And really be more aware of who you are. The more aware of who you are, the more you can step into your personal power. The more you can do things that are in alignment with your goals here on Earth. And one way to do that is to be more willing to contemplate. Okay? Now that we've seen the cards as a whole, yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting, Gemini friends. You really need to observe the self a little bit more this time of year. The High Priestess is telling us to look inwards, to embrace that willingness to look at the shadow, to look inside of yourself and see what's in there. Okay? I think what you need to get rid of the ego mind as much as possible. The ego mind is feeding you corruption, is feeding you things to be fearful of, and that's no good. Reduce the ego mind as much as possible. Your courage is in facing encounters and stepping up to the plate and doing what's necessary. But at the same time, I think that doesn't hold true for the self. And when you're observing the self, I think you're a little bit fearful, a lot of you, of really going too far into the self. right? It's easier to look at the outside world. You have more control over that than you do of the self. At least that's what most believe. So that's maybe why you're fearful of it. Celebrate your power, recognize your power, but at the same time, be willing to sit back and observe and really get introspective and really think about things before you take actions. Alright, so that is the general reading for my Gemini friends this Halloween or Samhain season. Remember, this is a general reading. Not everything is meant to apply to everyone. If you would like a personal reading where I tap into your energy, you can head on over to my website. It's lightofraga.com. The link's in the description box below. Be sure to do all the YouTube stuff, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. I really do appreciate all of that. So thank you for your interaction. And besides that, I just want to wish you a happy Halloween, a happy Samhain. Stay safe out there. And do some work on the self, Geminis, and you're going to have a very productive October. So I want to thank you for watching this. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Happy taroting. Peace.